welcome back to my YouTube channel Satish Zoology Education. So today in this video I will discuss about the human heart structure from second year zoology, the second unit. So it is a very most important for a long question. So it is a revision first class of the long questions. So please subscribe my channel and like and share it. So ee channel ద్వారా కొన్ని గెస్ క్వశ్చన్స్ మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ని రివిజన్ క్లాసెస్ని నేను అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాను. సో మీరు ఇప్పటివరకు కూడా సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోకుండా ఉంటే దయచేసి సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి, ఎందుకంటే నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చే మీ వీడియో మీకు తెలుస్తుంది. సో ప్లీజ్ సబ్స్క్రైబ్ మై ఛానల్ అండ్ లైక్ అండ్ షేర్. సో లెట్ us discuss the human heart structure. It is a very important for a long question, 8 marks question. So let us discuss human heart structure. So it is a mesodermal origin. Mesodermal origin. So located mediastinum. Mediastinum located, it means mediastinum means in between the two lungs, and clenched fist size. Clenched fist size and covered by double walled pericardium layer. The pericardium layer, it is a mesodermal origin and it is located in between the lungs. It means the mediastinum and clenched fist size, and it covered by the double walled layer, pericardium layer. Okay, so pericardium is the double layer na. So pericardium double layer na. So outer layer and inner layer. So outer layer and inner layer. Outer layer is called fibrous layer. Inner layer is known as serous layer. So fibrous layer is the outer layer, serous layer is the inner layer. Serous layer is also double layer. It has the outer and inner. Outer also called parietal layer. Inner is called visceral layer. So it is a mesodermal origin once again. So located in the mediastinum, clenched fist sized and covered by the double layer. So pericardium. The pericardium is the double layer na. It is the outer layer and inner layer. So outer layer is called fibrous layer, inner layer is called serous layer. Serous layer also contain the what? Two layers. It is also double layer. So outer is called parietal layer and inner is called visceral layer. So the parietal layer fused with the fibrous layer. Fused with the fibrous layer. Remaining the visceral layer. So it means the inner layer of the serous layer. So it is a contact, it means attached with the heart wall. So it forms the epicardium. So it is a epicardium. For example, it is a heart structure. Okay, so it is a wall. For example, it is a wall. So when observe the wall here, so it is a wall, for example. So it is a wall. When we observe the here wall structure, so outer is a what? It is a layer, and innerly here is contained another layer like this, and it is a like this. Okay. So here blue color na, it is known as fibrous, and it is known as parietal layer. Parietal layer, and it is known as serous layer. Serous layer. So here parietal layer, serous layers contain the what space? The space is contain the fluid. The fluid is known as pericardial fluid. It is a pericardial fluid. It help in the free movement. So it is a adhered with the what? Heart wall of the heart wall. Okay, it form the what? Epicardium. Next, so between the two layers, contains contains the what? Cavity. So, contains the space. Contains the space. The space is known as called pericardial cavity. So, this cavity is filled with pericardial fluid. Pericardial fluids. It reduces the, what is the function of the pericardial fluid? So, pericardial fluid reduces friction between the how many layers? 2 layers. Okay, prevent the reduces the friction between the 2 layers, and also it allows free movement of the heart. Okay, now, so this is some external structure. So, let us say it is a mesodermal origin and also located the mediastinum between the 2 lungs, and also it clinched fist sized and covered by the double wall layer. So, pericardium. So, outer is the fibrous, inner is the serous. Serous also double layer na. So, it is outer is called parietal and inner is known as visceral layer, and parietal layer fused with the fibrous layer, and visceral layer is added with the heart wall and forms the epicardium, and between the 2 layers contain the what? Space. So, this is the space. It is a fibrous and it is a serous. In between the 2 layers contain the what? Cavity. The cavity is known as pericardial cavity. The cavity is filled with the pericardial fluid, and it is a reduce the friction in between the 2 layers, and also it allows the free movement of the heart. So, right, next one, heart wall is contained the 3 layers. So, just a minute. So, heart wall is contained the how many layers? 3 layers. Heart wall contain the 3 layers. So, epicardium and myocardium and endocardium. So, epicardium is the what? Outer, myocardium is the middle, and its endocardium is the inner. So, it is the outer, middle and inner. Okay. So, it is the thick ones and it is the thin ones. It is a middle layer formed by the muscle, that is the cardiac muscles. And next one, external structure. So, it is the external structure. Heart is the external structure. So, in this structure, so heart contains how many chambers? 4 chambers na? 4 chambers. 2 atria and 2 ventricles. 2 ventricles. Atria is the what? Upper chambers, and 2 ventricles is the lower chambers. So, it is the receiving chambers and it is the pumping chambers. Next one, 2 atria separated from ventricles through so muscular, it is called coronary sulcus. So, these coronary sulcus also called groove. So, it is the coronary sulcus. So, from each atrium, it contains the pouches like structure. So, these pouches like structure is called auricular appendix. So, this is the external structure. Okay, now, so it is the 2 atria and 2 ventricles, and 2 atria is separated from the ventricle. So, atrioventricular groove are also called coronary sulcus, and each atrium is it is at the anterior port is contained some projection like pouches like structure. The pouches like structure is called auricular appendix. So, here next one is the internal structure. Internal structure. So here two atria. So let us discuss about the atria. Atria. So it is a what? Thin chambers. So it is the walls are the thin walled and upper chambers and also receiving chambers. What here receiving chambers? Receiving the blood. Receiving chambers. So atria is the how many? Two na? So two atria. Right and left. Right and left. So right atrium is larger than left atrium. So it is the just one. So it is a external structure. It is a walls, epicardium, myocardium and endocardium. So external structure is a what? Two atria, two ventricles present and separated by the coronary sulcus, and each atrium is pouches like structure is called auricular appendix. And internal structures, two atria is present. Two atria is the what? The thin walled and also upper chambers and receiving chambers. Two atria means our right and left one. Right atrium is the larger than the left atrium. So let us continuous discussion of the internal structure. So next one. So two atria is separated by the septum, that is known as interatricular septum. So right, next one. Two atria separated. Two atria is separated by the what? Interatricular septum. So in fetal heart at a septum contains pore called foramen oval. Called the what? Foramen oval. Okay, so it allow the from the right to left. So if lungs become functional, when the lungs become functional at birth time, so it closes and remains so depression like structure, so called fossa ovalis. Fossa ovalis. Okay, understood. What here? Two atria separated by the interventricular septum na. So here at fetal heart, at the timing of the embryonic stage, so at the near of that between the interatrial septum is contained the small pore. The pore is called the what? Foramen oval. So if lungs becomes a functional at the birth time, then it is a pore is closed and remains as a one patch like structure. So that is known as fossa ovalis. If not closed properly, so if not closes properly, so that patient is known as patent foramen oval. So it is a patent foramen oval. Understood? So for example, let us discuss here. So here for example, it is a what? Septum. It is a nerve. It is a what? Septum. Interventricular septum. Interatrial septum. For example, here is pore is present at the embryonic stage. It pore. So this pore is allowed to the blood to the here. Okay. So if the lungs become as a functional, then this pore is closed completely. Then is a one depression like structure. Then fossa ovalis. Even though after the birth, even though the lungs become as a functional, so if that does not close properly, that person, that patient, that is a called patent foramen oval, not closes properly after the birth also. Okay, so this is known as patent foramen oval. Right, next one. So here, so right atrium receives blood from body parts, except lungs, from body parts except lungs through how many here? 3 caval veins. Okay, 3 caval veins. In 3 caval veins, 2 are precaval veins and 1 are postcaval vein. So inferior, so superior vena cava and inferior. So here the words except lungs through the 3 caval veins, now 2 precaval, 1 postcaval. So at the opening of the precaval veins in right atrium, not guarded by any walls, okay, not guarded by the walls, but here, so at the opening of which ones? Postcaval vein at right atrium or into the right atrium, so where the opening of the postcaval in right atrium, it guarded by the what? Eustachian wall. Okay, so here, so 2 precaval veins and 1 postcaval veins. So right atrium receives the what? Blood from the body parts except lungs. So 3 caval veins, 2 precaval veins, 1 postcaval vein. So at the opening of the which one's precaval vein in the right atrium, not guarded by the any walls, and at the opening of the postcaval vein in the right atriums, it is guarded by the what? Eustachian wall. And next one, the continuation. So right atrium also receives blood from the heart wall, so through the coronary sinus, so right atrium also receives blood from where? From heart walls, okay, through the coronary sinus, okay, through the coronary sinus. So this coronary sinus is guarded by the wall, valve of Thebesius. So wall of the Thebesius. So wall of the Thebesius is present at where? At the opening of the coronary sinus. Eustachian wall is where? At the opening of the postcaval vein into the right atrium. So the right atrium contains the 2 walls of the Thebesius and wall of the Eustachian wall. Okay. So right atriums, it is a 2 atria. 2 atria separated from ventricles. So it means 2 atria and 2 ventricles are separated by okay. So 2 atria and separated by the ventricles through atrioventricular grooves, atrioventricular septum. atrioventricular septum. So these atrioventricular septum is contain the what, also it contain the near of the septum is contain the what here, apertures. So septum, and at near it contains atrioventricular apertures. Atrioventricular apertures. So right atrium and left atrium. Okay, right and left ones. So here the bicuspid and tricuspid. So right atrium opening into the where, right ventricle, through the what, through right ventricular aperture. Okay. Next one, it is a guarded by the, understood, right atrium open into the right ventricle and through the right. So here the what, atrioventricular aperture. So it is guarded by wall called bicuspid wall. Just a minute. Guarded by wall, that is known as bicuspid wall, right. And next one, as usual, left so it is a tricuspid, so it is a tricuspid wall, and left atrium opening into the where, left ventricle. Okay, so through the what, left atrioventricular aperture. Okay, it is guarded by which ones, bicuspid cuspid wall. Okay, so it is wall. So just once again here, right atrium also, first right atrium receive the what, blood from the all body parts except lungs and through the three precaval veins, caval veins, two precaval, one postcaval. Okay, so at the opening of the precaval is not guarded by the any walls, and the opening of the postcaval is guarded by the wall, that is called Eustachian wall. And also it is also received from the blood from the walls of the heart through the coronary sinus, and it is opening into the right atrium now. So it is also guarded by the wall, that wall is known as sebaceous. Right atrium and ventricle is separated by the septum, that is known as atrioventricular septum. At the near of the septum is contained the apertures, it means pores, that atrioventricular apertures. It is also guarded by the walls, that is the bicuspid and tricuspid, where the present the bicuspid and where the present the tricuspid. So right atrium is open to the right ventricle through the right atrioventricular aperture. For example, so it is heart, now it is a what, heart, so it is a what, aperture, so it is the right, so it is a contain the walls, tricuspid and bicuspid all walls, it can communicate. So right atrium is open to the ventricle, here is open to the ventricle, so it is guarded by the walls. What is the importance of the wall? It prevent the bulging of, it prevent the backflow of the bloods. So right, next continuation of the again, so right, so here ventricles, so it is the ventricles. Next one, ventricle. Ventricle, it is a what? Thick chambers, thick walled and pumping lower chambers, lower chambers and pumping chambers. Okay, so lower upper walls. Okay, there is a pumping chambers. Right, next one. So here the right ventricle. Right ventricle is smaller than left ventricle. Okay, so right ventricle is the larger. So ventricle, each ventricle, so ventricles contains muscular ridges, so called columnae carneae. So it is the word columnae carneae. What is your columnae carneae? Some ridges are the folds present in that ventricle walls. Okay, so these ridges, muscular ridges, some muscular ridges, some ridges which shape here conical shapes called papillary muscles. It connect to the what? Heartstrings. So papillary muscles are connected to heartstrings. So it heartstrings also called chorda tendinae. It's called chorda tendinae. Okay, heartstrings. So it prevent the, so it is a connect the walls. So chorda tendinae it is a connect the papillary muscles with tricuspids and bicuspids. Okay, tricuspid and tricuspid. What is here? Hold the position of the that walls. So during the contraction and relaxation, it prevent the bulging. So it is the keeping the that place. So, okay, so this is the human heart structure. So once again, I will explaining the just orally. So human heart structure, it is the origin from the mesodermal origin and is a clenched fist size. It located mediastinum between the two lungs. It covered by the pericardium layer. So it is a double layer. The outer is known as fibrous, inner is known as serous. Again, serous is the double layer. So double layer is the what? Outer is the parietal and visceral layer. Outer is parietal and visceral layer. Okay. Next one. So and also between the fibrous visceral parietal layer is connected with the what are fused with the which ones? Parietal layer is fused with the fibrous and also visceral layer is the contact with the what? Heart walls. Okay, it is a form the epicardium. So heart walls is contain the what? Three layers is present: epicardium, myocardium and endocardium. So here is a contain the external coronary sulcus. It can divide into two atria and ventricles, and also some pouches is called, that pouches is known as auricular appendix. Okay, so atria, it is the contain the water. So in between the atria is the what? Between the atrial septum is contain the foramen oval. It is a closed at birth time. If not closed at birth time, so that is known as patent foraminal ovis. It closed at birth time, that is a remain as a depression, is called fossa ovalis, and is it collect right atrium receive the blood from the body parts except lungs through the three caval veins, and post caval veins opening to the right atrium is guarded by the wall. The wall is known as post caval veins opening to the right atrium is guarded by the eustachian wall, and also it is right atrium also receive the from the heart walls, that is the eustachian what here through the coronary sinus. It is also guarded by the which wall? Sebaceous wall. Okay, and also it opening the ventricles, and ventricle is guarded by the tricuspid and bicuspid. And ventricles, so it is the right ventricle is smaller than the left ventricles, and the thick ones and the lower chambers and pumping chambers, and also some ridges is present. Column, the ridges is called muscular ridges called the columnae, carneae, and some conical shape is called papillary muscles and attached to the heart strings and chorda tendineae. So it is a human heart structure. So in next class I will upload the next most important question, so functioning of the heart. So please do the subscribe మై ఛానల్, ఈ ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. మీకు ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ని నేను రివిజన్ చేస్తాను, జస్ట్ ఫాస్ట్గా రివిజన్ చేస్తాను, ఎందుకంటే ఆల్రెడీ మీరు విన్న టాపికే కాబట్టి. సో ఆల్రెడీ యూ లిజన్ దిస్ టాపిక్, సో దట్స్ వై ఐ ఎక్స్ప్లెయినింగ్ ద వెరీ స్పీడ్. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ అ రివిజన్ క్లాస్. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ వాచింగ్ దిస్ వీడియో. ప్లీజ్ సబ్స్క్రైబ్ మై ఛానల్ and like and share it. Okay, all the best for your examination.